Then the next one was this immigration officer. A lot of things happened then. Late last year, they said there was no passport. So after registration and doing your capture, you can still stay for like 3 months or 4 months before you get your passport. And I learned that they got this passport from abroad, from somewhere, not even printed in Nigeria. So the passport came in batches. So the first batch gets exhausted or got exhausted, you wait for the next one. So depending, and people go through extra mile, doing all sorts of lobbying, trying to find their way because they are desperate to get this passport and they all wanted to travel. And I found myself in the same kind of shoe. And I was so desperate, just like every other person. I had to go to the immigration office at Bogolada, and I met a couple of people there, and they were like, there's nothing they could do. There was no passport, and so on and so forth. But one of them came to me and said, if I could meet the head, I think it was the head or something, but a senior officer there that was in charge, and explain to him the situation and everything, that the man was a good man. That if I could convince him that he would do everything possible to get it done. I was really amazed. Then a couple of staff there also met me to say, like if had it been he wasn't there, had it been it was the former officer that was there before him, then that could have been easy. In fact, the person had a way of doing things. You just go through the protocol, and the protocol was giving money. That's not that bad. Just go through the protocol and you get a passport. So at some point they were hoarding the passport, even though honestly then, the passport was, of course, when you are working with scarce commodity, it creates room for other people to make money. I will still get to this topic, something that has to do with this. So it makes room for people to make money. So people always want to see that kind of very unfortunate situation so they can make fortune out of it. So you are telling me that I was so lucky. Had it been I was there when the other woman, people like us just do one or two things, slap some hands and we'll have our way. But unfortunately, this man there, no way, nobody goes close to him. I say, really? But they encouraged me, just go and try. And I went in. I sat down and the guy came in and I met him. I might not give the whole details, but I'm telling you, there are still good people. There are still good people in this country. There are still good people. I had little interactions with this man and I could tell his values, and he was ready to die on what he believed in. And that was why every other staff in that office, we are running away from him, because they couldn't go close. Initially, the normal thing was, if you get to that kind of people, all these tout and, middlemen will come around you to just, help you facilitate your passport and because they know they get something out of it. So they will collect from you, pay, get theirs, and walk away. But nobody came to me to do that. They all asked me to go to the man and meet him myself, that if I could explain that he was a nice man, and the man showed that he was good. I wasn't successful that day, but he promised that he would do something, honestly, after showing him my tickets and everything and so on and so forth, and he asked me a couple of questions. Such a nice man, very humble to the heart. And this man gave me hope. He gave me the hope for my new Nigeria, just like other people that I've mentioned. The hope for the new African society I want to live in. Because they are still existing, I will do everything possible to still connect them back and give them hope to continue in their values. That is what makes us human. You must have heard about Mrs. Obegeri Mazi, in Borno State. The one that the Borno State governor went to the school for some different assignments or assessment as early as 6:30, and he met this woman already seated in the school, kept the class clean, prepared, waiting for her pupils in the primary school. And the governor was so amazed. The governor was like, do you still have people like this existing in the country? One, she was not from that tribe. She was not even a Muslim, not from the same religion, all the way from Southeast. And she was there providing values, core values, passionately. And she had been in that school for like 30 years and receiving one mega salary. I think as at that time, I think about 30,000 or so. For 30 or 31 years. Passionately providing values. Can you imagine that kind? As early as 6:30. And we can as well say, yeah, all people, because we've gone to an extent that we can just use evil to generalize everyone. These are teachers, they don't know anything, or These, those kind of statements. But this woman proved everybody wrong. And the governor was astonished. As in, this kind of people still existed, even in their own country. And I think he did some very good thing to encourage her. Some promotion and some cash awards or something like that. And I also have the governor as my hero as well. For him to recognize this woman, for him to bring her in the limelight, irrespective of no affiliation with his tribe or with his religion, he never cared. He believed in the values. So what connected him to this woman was the value. And this is the same value we are trying to restore in our own new society. And he never cared. That's single act. I don't care what anybody could say about politicians. My interest in the country these days and my interest in this journey is to pick the good deeds in people and celebrate them. Just like people could easily celebrate evil, glorify, and everybody will look so dark and grim. I'm still so proud of that governor's action. My respect to him. And Obegere, these are my hope heroes. Then let's look at the resilience of Nigerians on the streets, even in the midst of hardship. People walk out their hearts, struggling to survive. Even in situations that have caused us to relax back home and said, there's nothing we're going to do, or let's go for strike, or let's go for rioting or protest and everything. Patiently, they were still struggling. At the point you think that this policy or this regime or that regime or whatever situation will break us up and that will be the end, people will stay struggling and stay smiling. It gave me so much hope. If we could still have this kind of people on the streets, under sun, under rain, doing all that, we can still get back, restore our values. It gave me my hope heroes. Then the next one, all commercial transporters that have found one thing or the other, maybe won treasures or money or whatever in their cars and everything. So much, so amazing that you think that could make a life, but they still return them to TV stations, to radio stations, or to the police. Knowing fully whether they could make a fortune from this. What kind of value? What an amazing value. What an amazing humans were they. It gave me so much hope when I hear those kind of stories. Though we don't celebrate them much, but no matter how, no matter little, whenever I hear them, they give me so much hope. These are my hope heroes. And I have so much respect for them. And that made me believe that we can still get there. I also want to talk about the ideologies of some patriotic African leaders. Amazing people. I've not had anything to do with them, but I've listened to some of their speeches, their comments, their ideologies, their values, and their text and messages. These African leaders gave me hope, and they're still giving me hope that even as one Africa, we can make it. We can come together as Africans. We can have a common value as Africans and be our brothers wherever we are. These are the people that could also risk their lives, to risk their material things, their possessions and everything, just to give their country a good name. Do you want to talk about them? Amazing people. And I keep on listening to them because they are kind of the hope for my bloodline to believe that this journey, we shall see the end of it alive. People like President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana. I've listened to his speeches, his ideologies. I could remember the days, but nobody could think that Ghana would be where they are today. Wonderful person. I could also think about the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed. What about President John Magufuli of Tanzania? President Paul Kagame of Rwanda? Taking them from the roots to grace and grace to glory. These are wonderful people, wonderful African leaders. So it tells me that it's not about all Africans. We don't just say all Africans, no matter how we want to generalize them, or all African leaders. There are still leaders with good hearts who are very, very ready, who are committed to see the restoration of these values in Africa and even in their home countries. They give me hope, and they're my hope heroes. I want to talk about this police officer. Our common understanding, our common impression about police officers in Nigeria? Wow, never a good one. But I'll tell you about this man. This happened like 2 or 3 years ago when I was coming back to Abuja through Kogi State. This man met me, a police officer. As I was coming, he just stopped me and asked me to park. I was already very troubled in my mind that I knew what was going to happen, and I was very frustrated, but what would I do? I always want to obey them. Let me just go against the law. They are the agents that I would see. So I had to park. And as I was parking, I was already in my mind, what would they ask? And trying to fix out any kind of change or something to just give in, because I know definitely that's what they'll be coming for. So I would just go my way. As I was about struggling to find some cash somewhere, this guy just approached me, and I went down. His approach was something else. He greeted me. Good afternoon, sir. How are you, sir? I said, fine. How was the journey? I said, fine. That's good. In my mind, I was like, just go ahead. Let me just. First, he apologized for even stopping me for the inconvenience and explained what they were doing. They were here. They were conducting stop and search for such events or whatever that happened. That if I wouldn't mind, that he would just want to go around my car and do some searches. And at the same time, he was also apologizing. Wow. I said, sure. I quickly alighted out of my car and he went to the boot. I opened the boot, searched the boot, looked at the back seats, come to the front, and now came back to the front seats. Also, looked at around my seat. And he held the door and asked me to go in. I went in, I sat down. He quietly, calmly closed the door and apologized bitterly. Not that I was a suspect, but whatever they were doing was also to save my own life and the life of other citizens. And after that, he wished me well for my journey and sent his warm regards to my family and left. Whoa. I said, what? Do you know, for like a minute or two, I was still there trying to digest what really happened. I was like, was that a policeman? First, I thought I wasn't even in my country. Probably I was somewhere else in the Western world where we think things happened orderly manner. But then when I realized that, I said, wow, do we still have policemen like this in this country? So mature, so professional, very, very professional. And straight to the point, not asking for anything, did his job, wished me well and left. I felt at home. I was so proud of this guy, honestly. And this gave me hope, like I said. So it's not all about all policemen. So if we still have people like this in the force, why would we allow them to join the bad colors? Hope heroes. He's one of them. And I counted him in. And I was so proud of his actions. Then the CEO of a popular airline in Nigeria who responded to the distress call in South Africa during the xenophobic era, something happened. And this man had to put this airline to go there and pick so many Nigerians at no cost. At no cost. One thing that amazes me about this kind of people, when they'll have to put in what everyone will look for, even their wealth, their possessions, their lives, just to save life, just to do something, answer a call. This is my new Nigeria, and this is what I am looking out for. He was my hero. Then I have these other ones, creative made in Nigeria craft work. A friend called me, a colleague called me from the US and sent these pictures to me. She will be coming to Nigeria in a couple of weeks and asking me if I could help her to buy out these products that she would take back. And I was like, how? I've not seen this kind of thing before. I've not seen this kind of products. Where would I get them from? And how did she know? She said no, that she went to a friend's place and they saw it there and the stuff was so lovely. She asked the friend said that she bought it from Nigeria the last time she traveled to Nigeria. So that she needed to get one. So we'll have something like this to sell out, that people from other countries would demand this well. And I looked at it, they were so lovely. In fact, I was talking to myself that I could want to buy one for myself as well. So we could have this kind of thing. But unfortunately, I also made her to understand that probably I don't think the person got this from Abuja. I wouldn't know. Maybe somewhere or maybe another state. But it wasn't so clear. Unfortunately, then I was about traveling like a day or two. So I didn't stay behind to know the outcome. But I apologize that I couldn't do anything more. But I was so inspired that someone from another country could ask for it. That gave me hope. So we can make products. It's not just about the oil. It's not just about natural resources. Okay. Then I also look at the creativity and exploits of Nigerian entertainment industry. We knew where we were coming from when we were like nothing. But at this point, you can talk about our movies that's already in the cinema platform, our music industries that is also making a lot of waves in the global stage. It gave me hope that something from Africa can go this way even when we are coming from the grassroots, even in the midst of situations and circumstances we find ourselves, our youth making exploits, showing out their talents and making the world to hear more about us. So these are my great heroes, and I have so much respect for them. And I could also tell about this young girl in her early 20s. So I saw her in one local shop at Apple Mechanic Village, where I went to fix my car. So I saw this girl. She was just there selling one of this local restaurant with her mom, but the diligent and very committed and very humble, looking good, looking pretty, but was quite humble enough to do this work, selling these the fried local beans and so on and so forth to customers, giving change, cook, all manners of. So I was actually hungry there, so I just went there to eat, and I wanted to use the opportunity to ask a little about her. And the first question I asked her was she not in school? Because I was imagining at her age, I was just a bit curious. She said, yeah, that she was in school. She was in one of these high institutions in national states, either the university or the polytechnic. And she was there, so that normally every weekend she normally comes back home to help her mom and the food and everything. That's where she pays her school fees from. I said, really? Because I have this common impression about age. These are our youths, including myself, the new generation or the computer age. I have this impression, and I was wondering, at this point, this is possible? Because actually, what impressed me about her was that I knew that there's something else. There are other places that she could make money. Every weekend, there are places that she could go to make money. Just a few touch and sharp in a day, make huge money. Why would she bother to come down and be cooking, going through the harshness of the smoke under sun, sweating and all that? But she was so humble, and she was so proud of what she was doing. She gave me hope. Even among our youths, we still have the good ones, the good people. Now, the success of Ethiopia Airline in the global aviation industry, amazing. I am so proud each time I get into this aircraft. I feel like I feel at home. I'm not trying to say much about them or trying to promote them or in any sense, but for the fact that this airline is an African product and making waves in the global aviation industry, having been there for how many years and still waxing strong, run by Ethiopians, all from the cleaner to the top when you get to the airport, and looking at where they are coming from. It's not as if they were even colonized by any special, Western world or country. On their own. I think one of the few countries that were not colonized by the West. On their own. And whenever I get into their aircraft, I feel at home. I'm so proud of their products. I'm so proud of what they've become. And looking at them, I have this high hope that if an African country can do this, there is hope in Africa. There is so much, a lot that we can do. Our capacity should not be in doubt to do any single thing. At least we can focus on our strength and show the world what we can offer. So I'm so happy, and I'm so proud of that airline. Ladies and gentlemen, and in all my fellow Nigerians and Africans, I have so many stories, hope heroes in my life, my personal experience, so many of them, but I may not exhaust all now. But just to tell you that there are still good people, so many good people in our country who could stand against all odds for their values. And if we still have these people, why would we allow them to waste? Why can't we come together and start connecting so that we can define and redefine and remodel our society to what it should be? We'll be able to separate the chaff and the rice, and not allowing the chaff, the very few of them, to give and brand all of us and give us name. When we travel to other countries or to other places, we keep on feeling like second-hand citizens. No, we have hope, so much inspired by these people. And I know there's something we can do. You can tell your own hope stories, share your hope heroes for everyone to learn from. We are moving forward. Journey to 2035, our new Africa and our new Nigeria. Thank you.